we are back in Lightroom, and a lot of you guys have been asking me about creating watermarks and how to create watermarks and some ideas about watermarks. And I want to show you guys not only how to create watermarks, but also just maybe share some thoughts that I have on watermarks that are just, really kind of my opinion on them, but I just wanted to talk about that as well. So here we have an image that I shot with Richie Sambora at the WPLJ, in the WPLJ studio. A while back, I had the good fortune to spend the day with Richie, documenting him through well, basically I got to do a day in the life with Richie. We started off early in the morning at WPLJ, and then we spent the whole day doing all kinds of other stuff. So this was really cool. Interestingly, I met the guy like maybe 20 minutes before this shoot began. Really cool guy, real friendly guy, and I was one of just a handful of people in the control booth during the live radio broadcast. And I was just taking some candids. I was trying to be unobtrusive, so I was just using natural light, and meaning not popping any flashes or anything like that. And the guy is a pro. I mean, he just gets in front of a mic and he's natural and he's comfortable and he doesn't mind photographs being taken. There was a guy from some news channel, doing some video, whatever the case may be. So I got this image here, and do I want to watermark this? Do I want to put this out there and have my name on it? Well, it's really going to depend, and that's always going to be something that you guys want to think about. Now, I feel, this is my opinion, that with watermarks, if you're going to put, let's say, watermarks on something that you might consider your portfolio, that you want potential clients to look at in hopes of them hiring you, I find that watermarking is distracting because they don't want to have or see elements in the image that might take away from the actual image. Now, the other thing is that, if you're posting to Flickr or to other kind of social media like that, and you've got a watermark sitting in the corner of your image, that also not only can it be distracting, but if you're worried about like somebody stealing your image, let's say, somebody can basically just go into Photoshop and strip that out of there, or they can just crop it out of there. So unless you're actually going to put a watermark across the majority of your image, or in such a way that the image is not usable by somebody else, I think watermarking can honestly take away from the impact of the image. I think that there are certain situations where a watermark is a good branding tool, where you might be sharing your images, let's say, in a certain way that you do want your watermark there because you want to be able to say this image is associated with this brand that appears on the image, okay? So I'm not saying don't watermark, I'm not saying do watermark, I'm saying that it really is situation specific. I would say for your portfolio, that's not really where I think it's going to be best. I would say maybe if you've got a blog and you want your images to all be branded with your blog, that might be something better. I can even say that I've gone back and forth with doing watermarks. If you go back into my Flickr, there's definitely a series of images for a while where I was watermarking. But you know what? Like anything, like editing, like shooting, like watermarking, all of these styles, all of your attitudes on this can change. They can evolve, they can grow. My current feeling on it is that, I'm not really necessarily going to throw watermarks on there, particularly when I'm putting my images out there. Let me show you guys how to create a simple watermark. There's a couple of different ways you can do it. You can use a graphical watermark, which would be a graphics file that you've created or selected, or you can use text. So we're going to go up into the Lightroom menu and we're going to select Edit Watermarks, okay? In the watermark editor, you've got two watermark styles. You've got text or graphic. So let's say we want to go graphic. Immediately it goes into your hard drive and you can pick something like, let's say, I'll pick my logo. Boom. There we have it. There's my logo. And once it's in there, you can change the opacity if you want it to be lightly in there. You can change the size if you want it to be huge or not. You can set it to fit into there, to fill up the entire space, or just go proportional. You can even have it inset a little bit, either way into the frame, or you could have it inset a lot into the frame. You can also set where your anchor point is going to be, so you could have it in the center of the frame, you could have it top of the frame, bottom right, bottom left, etc. Okay, so there's a lot of different options you can do for a graphical watermark. And now graphical means that you've created a file and it wants two different types. It wants a PNG file or a JPEG file, both of which you can easily create in Photoshop or a similar editing program, image editing program as well. The other watermark style that you can utilize here is a text-based watermark. And below in this text box here, you've got the ability to add text. Okay, so we can go Adam Lerner photo and just leave it like that, you know, or we could do Adam Lerner photo, let's say .com. Okay, and let's say we wanted it to be in the right corner. We go boom, we go to the right. And let's say we wanted the opacity to be a little bit lighter like that, okay? You can basically put it anywhere you like. Now, if you were going to be, let's say, sharing your images on a stock site or something like that, typically the stock site would add watermarking to it, but let's say you were really concerned with people just ripping them off. You know, you could put the watermark in the center and you could just go really large. A situation like that, it makes it very, very difficult because a photo retoucher would have to be really, really determined to go and try to strip that little bit of, you know, to strip all that text out of there. Whereas, you know, if you had it, you know, very small and you had it in the left corner, that could actually be cropped out of there and the image could still be used. So, you know, you're definitely at risk when you put your images out there on the internet, and there's a really kind of a tough balance between branding yourself and also detracting from your image with a watermark. So this is really kind of like, you know, it's an interesting debate. You know, it's something that definitely has a couple of different sides to it. For me, for now, I'm not watermarking as much as I had at a certain point in the past. If you go back in my Flickr, you can see there was a period of time where I was watermarking everything. But you know, that's going to be entirely up to you, and it's probably going to depend on what you are using your images for. Okay, so now we could save this watermark here. Let's just say the AdamLernerPhoto.com. We save it. We could just call it ALP.com, and we could just hit create, and boom. And then if we wanted to export this image, okay, so Command-Shift-E, that brings up the export dialog box. We go into watermarks and we can select ALP.com, which is that new watermark, okay? And if we export this image, that AdamLernerPhoto.com will be set across the bottom of the frame here, okay? Now, we are going to get into exporting images and treating our images and how we're going to export them and what size and all that other kind of stuff at another video. But for now, for today, I wanted to not only talk about how to create a simple watermark, but just share some thoughts with you guys about how I feel about watermarking images. If you have any comments or questions, please leave them in the comments section below, or you can email me at adamlernerphoto@gmail.com. That's it for now, and we'll see you soon.